The air inside the Red Nova cantina was thick with smoke and the smell of alien alcohol. Creatures from dozens of worlds sat at metal tables, talking in low voices about jobs, money, and death. This was Nexus Prime, the biggest mercenary station in the Outer Rim. If you needed someone killed, something stolen, or a war fought, this was where you came to find the best killers in the galaxy. Kang Wu sat in a dark corner booth, his human eyes scanning the crowd. He looked like any other spacer in his worn jacket and old boots, but the scars on his hands told a different story. Across from him, Jimin tapped her fingers on the table as she read from a data pad. "The mining company is offering good money," she said quietly. "Clean job, no civilians." Kang Wu nodded but didn't answer. Something was happening at the center of the cantina. A holographic projector had activated, casting blue light across the room. The conversation slowly died as mercenaries turned to look. A well-dressed corporate representative appeared in the hologram. His expensive suit and nervous smile marked him as someone with more money than sense. Behind him stood two bodyguards in clean armor. "Greetings, contractors," the hologram said. "I represent Stellar Mining Corporation. We have a lucrative opportunity for experienced mercenaries." Vex, a 7-foot-tall reptilian with green scales and yellow eyes, leaned back in his chair. His company, the Talon Mercenaries, had destroyed entire fleets. Nothing scared Vex. He picked his teeth with a claw and waited. "Our mining operations on Kepler 442 have been disrupted," the corporate man continued. "A small military unit has been attacking our facilities. We need them eliminated." Several mercenaries sat up straighter. Military contracts paid well, especially against human colonies. Humans had good equipment but were known to be soft. "The payment is 50 million credits," the hologram announced. The cantina erupted in whispers. 50 million was retirement money. Even Grimm, the insectoid bounty hunter, clicked his mandibles in interest. That kind of money could buy a small fleet. "However," the corporate representative said, raising his hand for quiet, "there are some details you should know." The hologram changed, showing tactical data. Unit size, 12 soldiers. Equipment, standard human military gear. Base, temporary forward operating post. Easy money, thought most of the mercenaries. 12 humans against an army of professionals. Then, the final detail appeared on the screen. Classification, Human Special Forces. The cantina went dead silent. Vex's yellow eyes widened. He stood up slowly, his chair scraping against the floor. Without a word, he walked toward the exit. His entire crew followed him. Grimm's antennae twitched. The insectoid hunter had never run from a fight in his life, but he was already backing, away from his table. One by one, every mercenary group in the cantina began to leave. The Crimson Fangs, the Iron Brotherhood, the Void Stalkers, all of them heading for the doors. The corporate representative looked confused. "Wait, the payment is negotiable. We can go higher." But the cantina was emptying fast. Within minutes, only a few drunk spacers and confused traders remained. Kang Wu watched it all with interest. Jimin stared in surprise. "I've never seen anything like this," she whispered. "These are the most dangerous killers in the galaxy. They've fought entire armies." The corporate hologram flickered and died. The real representative was probably yelling at his assistants right now, wondering why 50 million credits couldn't buy him a single mercenary. An old janitor shuffled over to clean a nearby table. He was a Zephyrian, with blue skin and 4 arms. One of his arms was mechanical, clearly a replacement. His left eye was scarred blind. "Excuse me," Jimin called to him. "What just happened? Why did everyone leave?" The janitor looked at her with his good eye. He seemed to recognize that she was human. His expression became a mix of respect and fear. "You're human military?" he asked quietly. "Former," Kang Wu answered. "Special Forces. Retired." The janitor's remaining 3 arms started shaking. He almost dropped his cleaning supplies. "My apologies, sir. I didn't mean to bother you." "It's fine," Kang Wu said gently. "But I'm curious too. Why won't anyone take that contract?" The janitor looked around nervously as if saying the wrong thing might get him killed. Because we know better, he whispered. Word travels fast in the mercenary world. Everyone knows what happens when you fight human special forces. What happens? Jimin asked. The janitor sat down heavily, his mechanical arm whirring as it moved. 5 years ago, I was with the Crimson Fleet. We had 200 ships and 10,000 warriors, best equipment in the galaxy. We got hired to take out a single human research station. His voice got quieter. The station was defended by 6 humans. 6 special forces. Kang Wu and Jimin exchanged glances. They both knew how these stories usually ended. We should have turned around right then, the janitor continued. But the money was too good. Our leader said humans were just clever animals with basic weapons. How hard could it be? He touched his scarred eye. 3 days later, I was the only one left alive from my ship. The whole fleet was gone. 200 ships destroyed or captured by 6 humans. That's impossible, Jimin said. The janitor laughed, but there was no humor in it. That's what we thought. But humans don't fight like other species. They don't just adapt to the battlefield, they remake it. They turn your own weapons against you. They use things that shouldn't be weapons as weapons. They make you afraid. Of shadows and sounds and empty corridors. He stood up, gathering his cleaning supplies. The worst part? They seemed to enjoy it, like it was a game to them. I watched one of them, their medic, hold off 500 of our warriors using nothing but medical equipment and chemicals she mixed together. She was humming while she did it. The janitor started to walk away, then turned back. There are 3 rules every mercenary learns if they want to live long. Never fight a cornered berserker, never trust a Void Walker's contract, and never ever take a job against human special forces. The money isn't worth becoming a cautionary tale. After he left, Kang Wu and Jimin sat in silence for a while. Is that really what others think of us? Jimin asked. Kang Wu smiled slightly. We do tend to be creative in difficult situations. Jimin's communicator beeped. She checked the message and her expression changed. Speaking of difficult situations, she said, our mining company job just got more complicated. The targets aren't just disrupting operations. They're special forces too. Kang Wu's smile grew wider. Well, he said, finishing his drink, I guess we know why the pay is so good. Outside the cantina, Vex was talking to some younger mercenaries who hadn't understood why everyone left. But it's 50 million credits, one of them protested. Vex looked at the young alien with something like pity. Kid, let me give you some free advice. In this business, there are jobs that pay well, and there are jobs that let you live to spend the money. Human Special Forces contracts are never both. He pointed back toward the cantina. That human sitting in the corner booth? I've seen his type before. They look quiet and normal, but their weapons wrapped in human skin. They've been trained by other humans who survived impossible odds, and they pass that knowledge down like a religion. The young mercenary still looked confused. But they're just humans. They don't have our strength or our technology. Vex laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. That's what everyone thinks right up until the moment they realize they're already dead. He walked toward his ship, his crew following. Find another line of work, kid. One that doesn't involve trying to kill the most dangerous soldiers in the galaxy. Back in the cantina, Kang Wu's communicator chimed. He read the message and chuckled. What is it? Jimin asked. Message from Li Han. Apparently there's a mining company on Kepler 442 causing trouble for some colonists. He's asking if we're interested in some honest work. Jimin raised an eyebrow. Kepler 442? Isn't that where someone just put a 50 million credit bounty on a special forces team? Yes. They both smiled. Some things never change, Kang Wu said, standing up. Ready to go remind some people why mercenaries don't take contracts against us? Jimin gathered her things. Let's go show them what human special forces really means. As they left the cantina, the few remaining patrons watched them go with new understanding. Those 2 quiet humans weren't just customers. They were legends walking among mortals. And somewhere in the galaxy, a mining company was about to learn Why 50 million credits couldn't buy them victory against 6 humans who had learned to turn impossible odds into their greatest weapon. The transport ship Iron Wing hummed through space, carrying Kang Wu and Ji-min toward Kepler 442. They had been traveling for 2 days, but Kang Wu's mind kept going back to the cantina. The fear in that old janitor's voice had been real, pure terror. "Tell me about the Crimson Fleet incident," Ji-min said, looking up from her mission files. "You were there, weren't you?" Kang Wu nodded slowly. He had been hoping she wouldn't ask, but Ji-min was too smart to miss the details. "I was part of the backup team," he said. "We arrived 3 hours too late. By then, it was already over." Ji-min put down her data pad. "What really happened? The official reports are classified above my level." Kang Wu was quiet for a long moment. Then he started talking. The research station was called Haven Point. It was studying alien technology we'd found on a dead world. Nothing dangerous, just trying to understand how their computers worked. He paused, remembering. The Crimson Fleet was the biggest pirate armada in the sector. 200 ships, 10,000 warriors from a dozen different species. They had plasma cannons, energy shields, the best military hardware stolen from every major power in the galaxy. "Against 6 humans," Ji-min said. "Against Li Han's team," Kang Wu corrected. "Li Han, Park Sora, Kim Tae, Choi Min, and 2 others. They were supposed to be protecting the research staff while we arranged evacuation." The ship's engines changed pitch as they entered a new star system. Kang Wu continued his story. "The pirates thought it would be easy. Humans were new to space. Our weapons were primitive. Our armor was basic metal and ceramic instead of energy fields. What could 6 soldiers do against an armada?" Ji-min was listening carefully. She had heard stories about Li Han, but never the full truth. The fleet arrived at Haven Point expecting to find scared scientists and maybe a few guards. Instead, they found something that changed how the entire galaxy thinks about human soldiers. Kang Wu stood up and walked to the small viewport, looking out at the stars. The battle started normally. The pirates surrounded the station and demanded surrender. Li Han's response was transmitted on all frequencies so everyone could hear. "Edguy, what did he say?" "Negative. We're not done with our coffee yet. Give us 10 minutes. Ji-min blinked. "He asked for 10 minutes? 10 minutes to finish their coffee? The pirate commander thought it was a joke. He gave them the time, probably thinking it would be funny to watch humans panic. Kang Wu turned back to face her. Those 10 minutes changed everything. Li Han's team didn't panic or try to run. They used the time to prepare the station for war in ways no one had ever seen before. The ship's computer announced they were entering hyperspace. The stars outside blurred into lines of light. Park Sora, their medic, went to the medical bay, but she wasn't preparing to treat wounds. She was mixing chemicals from the medical supplies. Kim Tae went to maintenance areas and started modifying the station's systems. Choi Min tapped into the communications array. What were they doing? Turning a research station into a weapon. The station had industrial equipment, life support systems, artificial gravity generators, even the coffee machine. Li Han's team looked at all of it and saw tools for war. Kang Wu sat back down. When the 10 minutes ended, the pirate commander ordered the attack. That's when the nightmare began. He paused, organizing his memories. The first wave of pirates boarded through the main docking bay. 50 armored warriors with plasma rifles and energy shields. They expected to fight humans with simple projectile weapons in corridors. But Kim Tae had rigged the artificial gravity in that section. As soon as the pirates entered, gravity reversed. 50 warriors in heavy armor suddenly found themselves falling toward the ceiling at high speed. While they were confused and trying to orient themselves, the humans attacked from maintenance tunnels. Ji-min was starting to understand. The pirates weren't fighting in corridors. They were fighting in a 3-dimensional maze that the humans controlled. Exactly. And that was just the beginning. Park Sora had turned the medical bay into a chemical weapons factory. She was creating compounds that could eat through alien armor, gases that disrupted different species' nervous systems, and explosives made from medical supplies. Using her medical knowledge to kill instead of heal. The worst part? She was humming while she worked. The pirates who survived said hearing that humming in the dark was more terrifying than any war cry. The ship dropped out of hyperspace. They were getting close to Kepler 442. What about the pirate ships? Jimin asked. That's where Choi Min showed his genius. He didn't just tap into the station's communications. He hacked into the pirates' command network. While they were fighting inside the station, he was turning their own ships against each other. Kang Wu smiled grimly. The pirate fleet had advanced targeting systems that could identify friend from foe. Choi Min convinced those systems that half the fleet were enemies. Pirate ships started shooting at other pirate ships. How is that possible? Human computers use different logic patterns than alien ones. We think differently, so our software works differently. Choi Min understood both systems well enough to make one lie to the other. Jimin shook her head in amazement. But there were still thousands of pirates on hundreds of ships. True. That's when Li Han showed why he's a legend. He didn't just defend the station, he went on the attack. Kang Wu's expression became serious. Li Han took Kim Tae and used maintenance pods to board the pirate flagship. 2 humans in spacesuits with basic weapons, attacking a ship with 500 crew members. That's suicide. That's what everyone thought. But Li Han had studied the ship's design. He knew that big ships have weak points. He and Kim Tae didn't fight their way to the bridge. They went to engineering. The ship's computer announced final approach to Kepler 442. They didn't try to capture the ship. They turned it into a bomb. Li Han rigged the reactor to overload, but not immediately. He set a timer. Why a timer? Because he broadcast a message to the entire pirate fleet. He told them exactly what he had done, exactly how long they had before their flagship exploded, and exactly what would happen to any ship that tried to escape. Jimin was quiet, thinking. He gave them a choice. Surrender or die. But here's the thing that broke the pirates' spirit. Li Han didn't just threaten them. He explained step by step how he had infiltrated their flagship, how he had bypassed their security, and how he could do it to any other ship in their fleet. He proved they weren't safe anywhere. Right. And while he was explaining this, Park, Sora, was still fighting in the medical bay, still humming while she mixed chemicals that turned pirate warriors into puddles of melted armor. The pirates realized they weren't fighting human soldiers. What were they fighting? Humans who treated impossible situations like puzzles to solve. Humans who looked at everything around them and saw weapons. Humans who could think their way out of any trap and turn any defeat into victory. The ship's landing thrusters fired as they approached the planet. How many pirates survived? Less than 100 out of 10,000. Most of them needed therapy afterward. They kept talking about humans who fought like they were enjoying themselves, who turned friendly things into weapons, who could make you afraid of your own equipment. As they prepared to land, Jimin had one more question. What happened to Li Han's team? They finished their coffee, Kang Wu said with a smile. Then they went back to work protecting the research staff, like nothing had happened. The ship touched down on Kepler 442. Through the viewport, they could see the mining facilities in the distance. And now we're here to help them again, Jimin said, or help someone like them. Human special forces are all cut from the same cloth. As they gathered their equipment, Kang Wu added one last thought. The real lesson of Haven Point isn't that humans are stronger or smarter than aliens. It's that we're different. We see solutions where others see problems. We see weapons where others see tools. We see victory where others see certain death. They walked toward the ship's exit. That's why no mercenary will take a contract against us. It's not about the odds. It's about the fact that humans write their own odds. The cargo bay doors opened, revealing the surface of Kepler 442. Somewhere on this world, another group of humans was probably turning a mining dispute into a legend, and the galaxy would remember why you don't fight human special forces. The mining outpost on Kepler 442 was bigger than Kang Wu had expected. Massive drilling machines worked day and night, pulling valuable minerals from deep underground. But something was wrong. Half the equipment sat silent and broken. The attacks started 3 weeks ago, said Manager Chen, a nervous corporate official who met them at the landing pad. Small raids at first, taking supplies, destroying equipment. We thought it was local pirates. Jimin looked around at the damaged buildings. When did you realize it wasn't pirates? When we hired the Iron Covenant to stop them, Chen said quietly. Kong Wu stopped walking. The Iron Covenant was the most expensive mercenary army in the galaxy. They specialized in impossible missions and had never failed a contract. What happened to them? Jimin asked. Chen's hands were shaking. Gone. All of them. 1,000 mercenaries with the best equipment money can buy. They lasted 2 days. They walked toward the main building. Around them, workers moved quietly, looking nervous. Everyone kept glancing at the forest beyond the mining site. Tell us about the Iron Covenant operation, Kang Wu said. Chen led them into his office and closed the door. His desk was covered with reports and damage assessments. The Iron Covenant brought everything: stealth ships, plasma weapons, energy shields, cybernetic enhancements. Their leader said humans were just clever animals with basic projectile weapons. How hard could it be? Famous last words, Jimin muttered. They had orbital support and air superiority. Thermal imaging, motion sensors, the works. Against what we thought were maybe 20 or 30 human raiders hiding in the forest. Chen pulled up security footage on his computer. The Iron Covenant set up a perimeter around our facilities. Their plan was simple: sweep the forest, find the humans, eliminate them. Professional soldiers against primitive raiders. The footage showed armored mercenaries moving through the trees in perfect formation. Advanced technology glowing on their armor and weapons. What they found instead, Chen continued, were 8 humans who had turned 50 square kilometers of forest into the most dangerous place in the galaxy. The screen changed to show a different camera feed. This one was from a mercenary's helmet camera. Kang Wu recognized the recording type. It was from a dead soldier's equipment. The humans let them get deep into the forest, Chen explained. No resistance at first. The mercenaries thought they were winning. On the screen, the mercenary patrol moved confidently through the trees. Their scanners showed no enemies nearby. Everything seemed quiet and safe. Then the trees exploded. What you're seeing, Chen said as they watched the chaos unfold, is what happens when humans have 3 weeks to prepare a battlefield. The explosion wasn't from bombs or missiles. Somehow the humans had rigged actual trees to fall in precise patterns. The mercenary patrol found themselves trapped in a cage of fallen timber, unable to move their heavy equipment. But that was just the beginning. The humans didn't attack right away, Chen continued. They waited. While the mercenaries were trying to cut their way out, something else was happening. The helmet camera showed sparks flying from the mercenaries' equipment. Their energy shields flickered and died. Their plasma weapons stopped working. How? Jimin asked. We found out later. One of the humans, a woman named Yoon Ji-ho, had infiltrated their command ship while it was still in orbit. Using nothing but a maintenance pod and climbing gear, she somehow got inside. Kang Wu nodded grimly. He knew about infiltration specialists. They were trained to get into places that should be impossible to reach. Ji-ho uploaded a virus into their command systems. But not just any virus. She had studied their equipment for days, learning how it worked. The virus made their own technology turn against them. The helmet camera footage showed the mercenaries' rifle sparking and overheating in his hands. His armor's targeting system was flashing error messages. Their targeting system started identifying their own troops as enemies, Chen explained. Their communications network crashed. Their orbital support couldn't tell friend from foe. Meanwhile, Chen continued, pulling up another file, other humans were turning our mining equipment into weapons. New footage showed a woman with short black hair working on industrial machinery. This was Nam Soo-jin, though Chen didn't know her name. She took our mining lasers and somehow turned them into artillery, used our gravity generators as weapons, made our automated security systems fight alongside the humans instead of just watching. In the footage, Nam Soo-jin worked calmly, while explosions echoed in the distance. She was modifying a massive industrial drill, connecting it to power cables and aiming systems that shouldn't have been compatible. The Iron Covenant tried to retreat to their ships, Chen said. But the humans had anticipated that too. The footage switched to an orbital view. The mercenary fleet was trying to leave, but their own ships were attacking each other. Ji-ho's virus had spread through their entire network. By the second day, the Iron Covenant commander was hiding in an armored bunker, trying to call for reinforcements. That's when the humans came for him. Chen pulled up the final piece of footage. It showed the inside of the mercenary command bunker. Heavy blast doors, energy barriers, enough defenses to stop a small army. 8 humans walked through it all like it wasn't there. How did they get through the defenses? Jimin asked. They didn't go through them. They went under them. Apparently, there's a human on their team named Young Airi who specializes in combat engineering. She had spent 2 days digging tunnels that connected to the mining shafts. The footage showed the humans emerging from a ventilation grate inside the supposedly secure bunker. They moved with practiced coordination, like they had done this 100 times before. The mercenary commander surrendered immediately, Chen said. He was found 3 hours later sitting in the forest staring at nothing. His armor was gone, his weapons were gone, but he wasn't hurt. What did they do to him? Nothing, that's what broke his mind. They just talked to him, explained how they had infiltrated his ship, how they had turned his own technology against him, how they could have killed him at any point in the last 2 days. Chen closed the files and looked at Kangwoo and Jimin. The commander kept saying the same thing over and over. They were playing with us, like cats playing with mice. They could have ended it any time they wanted. Kangwoo was quiet for a moment, thinking, where are the humans now? Still out there. Chen pointed toward the forest. We know they have a base somewhere in the mountains. Our satellites can't find it, and we're too afraid to send anyone else to look. What do they want? Jimin asked. That's the strange part. They're not stealing anything valuable. They're not asking for ransom. They just keep destroying our equipment and driving away our workers. Chen pulled up a map of the mining operation. We think they're trying to shut us down completely, but we don't know why. Kangwoo studied the map. Something about the mining locations looked familiar. What are you digging up here? Rare minerals. Very valuable. The geological surveys show massive deposits throughout this area. What kind of surveys? Jimin asked. Deep ground penetration scans. We've mapped the mineral deposits down to 3 kilometers below the surface. Kangwoo and Jimin exchanged glances. They both realized the same thing at the same moment. You're not just mining, Kangwoo said slowly. You're digging into something that was already here. Chen looked confused. What do you mean? Those aren't natural mineral deposits, Jimin explained. They're artificial. You're mining the ruins of an alien city. Chen's face went pale. And the humans out there, Kangwoo continued, aren't raiders. They're archaeologists. They're trying to preserve something you're destroying. The office was quiet except for the sound of mining equipment in the distance. So what do we do? Chen asked. Kangwoo stood up. We go talk to them, professional to professional. But they're dangerous, Chen protested. They destroyed the Iron Covenant. They destroyed the Iron Covenant because the Iron Covenant was trying to kill them, Jimin said. That's different than talking. As they prepared to leave the office, Chen had one last question. What if they don't want to talk? Kangwoo smiled. Then we'll find out why human special forces have the reputation they do. But somehow, I don't think that will be necessary. They walked toward the forest, where 8 humans had turned impossible, odds into their greatest advantage. And somewhere in those trees, legends were waiting to meet other legends. The forest was quiet as Kangwoo and Jimin walked deeper into the trees. Too quiet. After 3 hours of hiking, they hadn't seen any birds or small animals. Something had made the local wildlife very nervous. They know we're here, Jimin said. Softly, Kangwoo nodded. They've known since we left the mining base, probably watching us through scopes right now. They continued walking until they reached a small clearing. In the center stood a simple wooden sign written in Korean. Stop here, wait. They stopped and waited. After 5 minutes, a voice called out from the trees. Drop your weapons and step back 10 meters. Kangwoo and Jimin carefully placed their sidearms on the ground and moved away from them. A woman emerged from behind a tree, her rifle trained on them but not directly threatening. She wore simple military fatigues with no insignia. Her name, tape read Okyung. You're not corporate security, she said, studying them carefully. Former special forces, Kangwoo replied. We came to talk. Okyung's expression didn't change, but she lowered her rifle slightly. About what? about why you're really here, and about what happened to the Void Syndicate. Oh Kyung's eyes narrowed. How do you know about that? Because word travels fast in the mercenary world, Jimin said. And because that's the story that really scares them. Oh Kyung was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke into a small radio. Base, this is Kyung. I have 2 former special forces who want to talk about the Syndicate incident, requesting permission to bring them in. A voice crackled back, permission granted, but keep them covered. Follow me, Oh Kyung said, and don't touch anything that looks like a normal part of the forest. We've made some modifications. They walked for another hour through paths that seemed to wind randomly through the trees. Kang Woo noticed small markers that would be invisible to anyone who didn't know what to look for. This wasn't just a trail. It was a maze designed to confuse intruders. Finally, they reached what looked like a natural cave entrance. Inside, the cave opened into a sophisticated command center carved into the mountain itself. 6 other humans were working at various stations. Computer equipment, communications gear, and weapons storage filled the space. Everything looked professional, but temporary, like it could be packed up and moved quickly. A man with captain's insignia approached them. His name tape read, Bae Young. You wanted to talk about the Void Syndicate, he said without introduction. Why? Because it's the story that changed everything, Kang Woo replied. Before that, aliens thought they could break human minds. After that, they realized human minds could break them instead. Bae Young gestured for them to sit at a metal table in the center of the room. The Void Syndicate specialized in psychological warfare, he began. They were the aliens you called when you wanted to destroy an enemy's will to fight. Fear toxins, holographic nightmares, frequencies that could drive most species insane. We've heard about their methods, Jimin said. Then you know why the Stellar Consortium hired them. They wanted to capture a human forward operating base without damaging the equipment inside. The Syndicate promised to break our minds and make us surrender. Oh Kyung joined them at the table. The base was on Titan 7, 12 of us against 2,000 Syndicate warriors. They brought their worst psychological weapons, things that could make grown soldiers curl up and cry for their mothers. What did they do first? Kang Woo asked. Fear toxins, Bae Young replied. Chemicals that trigger panic responses in most species. They flooded our base with the stuff through the air system. Did it work? Oh Kyung smiled grimly. On humans? We've been living with fear our entire evolutionary history. Earth tried to kill us with predators, diseases, natural disasters, and climate changes for millions of years. A little chemical fear just makes us more focused. Bae Young continued the story. When the fear toxins didn't work, they tried holographic nightmares, images designed to terrify us into submission, monsters from our own mythology, scenarios of our worst fears. The problem, Oh Kyung added, is that human nightmares are different from alien nightmares. What scares us also teaches us. We turned their psychological weapons into intelligence about their own fears. A woman named Jung A-ri looked up from her computer station. While they were trying to scare us, we were analyzing their methods, learning how their technology worked, understanding their psychology. And then we started using it against them, Bae Young said. Kang Woo leaned forward. How? Humans have been studying psychological warfare for thousands of years, Oh Kyung explained. We know how to weaponize fear, guilt, confusion, and despair. The Syndicate brought nightmares to fight us. We showed them what real nightmares look like. She stood up and walked to a wall covered with photographs and documents. Bae Young here is our demolitions expert, but his real talent is psychological demolitions. He doesn't just destroy buildings. He destroys the enemy's confidence in their own safety. Bae Young's expression became serious. I created booby traps that weren't just meant to kill. They were meant to terrorize. Traps that made noise before they exploded, so the enemy knew death was coming but couldn't stop it. Devices that would activate randomly, keeping the enemy awake and paranoid. The Syndicate warriors started refusing to enter buildings, Oh Kyung continued. They were more afraid of our traps than they were of direct combat. Young Airi spoke. Up again. I rebuilt the base's defenses using principles from human psychology. Corridors that seemed safe but felt wrong. Rooms that made the enemy feel trapped even when they weren't. Lighting that created shadows that looked like threats. You turned architecture into a weapon, Jimin observed. Everything can be a weapon, if you understand how minds work, Okyung replied. And humans understand minds very well. We've been fighting psychological battles against each other for our entire history. What broke them? Kang-woo asked. Okyung's expression became darker. We started hunting them in the dark. Not just killing them, but leaving messages that got inside their heads. Notes that made them question their own memories. Recordings of their own voices saying things they didn't remember saying. We made them afraid of themselves, Bae-young added. Every syndicate warrior started wondering if they could trust their own thoughts. If their memories were real. If their fears were their own or something we had planted. The final break came on the third night. Okyung continued. Their commander found a recording device in his private quarters. When he played it back, he heard himself planning to surrender, giving detailed information about his own forces. But he didn't remember making the recording, Jung-ae said. Because he hadn't. We had synthesized his voice using samples from intercepted communications, made him believe he was losing his own mind. By the fourth day, half the syndicate was requesting medical evacuation for psychological trauma, Bae-young finished. The other half had simply deserted. The cave was quiet for a moment. Their leader survived, Okyung said finally. We let him go as a message to others. He spent 6 months in alien psychiatric care, telling anyone who would listen about humans who could turn fear itself into a weapon. What did he say? Jimin asked. That we didn't just resist their psychological attacks, we enjoyed them. That humans treat mental warfare like a game we've been playing since childhood. Okyung sat back down. After that, no alien mercenary group would accept contracts involving psychological warfare against humans. They realized that our species doesn't just survive mental trauma. We study it, understand it, and use it against our enemies. Kang-woo was quiet for a long moment. And now you're here, protecting alien archaeological sites. The mining company is destroying a city that's 50,000 years old, Okyung replied. It's the most important archaeological find in galactic history. We're not going to let corporate greed turn it into raw materials. So you're not raiders, Jimin said. We're guardians, Bae-young corrected. Same as we've always been. We protect what matters, even when the odds are impossible. Especially when the odds are impossible, Okyung added with a smile. Outside the cave, the mining equipment continued its work, unaware that 8 humans had once again turned impossible circumstances into their greatest advantage. And somewhere, in the galaxy, the story of the Void Syndicate continued to spread, reminding everyone why psychological warfare against humans was a game no one else could win. 3 days later, Kang-woo and Jimin sat in the Red Nova Cantina again. This time they weren't alone. Okyung, Bae-young, and Jung-ae sat with them at the large corner table. The mining company had agreed to stop digging in exchange for safe passage off Kepler 442. The cantina was busier than before. Word had spread that humans were drinking there, and curious aliens kept glancing at their table from across the room. So the ruins are safe? Jimin asked. For now, Okyung replied. The Galactic Archaeological Council is sending a proper research team. The city will be studied instead of destroyed. Vex, the reptilian mercenary leader, approached their table cautiously. His yellow eyes showed respect mixed with wariness. Mind if I join you? He asked politely. Kang-woo gestured to an empty chair. Please. Vex sat down carefully, his claws making small scratching sounds on the metal table. I heard about what happened on Kepler 442, he said. Mining company packed up and left without a fight. How did you manage that? We talked to them, Okyung said simply. Just talked? We explained the situation, Bae-young added. Showed them what they were destroying. Most humans don't like corporate bullies either. Vex looked confused. But the Iron Covenant, the fear, the reputation. Kang-woo leaned back in his chair. That's what we need to talk about. The reputation isn't the whole truth. More aliens were gathering nearby, pretending to drink while listening to the conversation. Grim, the insectoid bounty hunter, had moved to a closer table. Even the old Zephyrian janitor was cleaning glasses within earshot. Human special forces aren't monsters, Jimin said loud enough for others to hear. We're just very good at solving problems. Impossible problems, Vex corrected. All problems seem impossible until someone solves them, Oh Kyung replied. Jung, Ari spoke up. The real secret isn't that we're stronger or smarter than other species, it's that we think differently. A young alien mercenary at a nearby table called out, How do you think differently? The cantina grew quieter as more aliens turned to listen. Kang Wu considered the question carefully. Every other species in the galaxy evolved on worlds that were relatively stable, predictable seasons, stable climates, consistent food sources. Your ancestors learned to follow patterns and trust that tomorrow would be like today. He paused, looking around the room. Humans evolved on a world that was actively trying to kill us. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, meteor impacts, predators, diseases, droughts, floods. Earth changed constantly. Our ancestors survived by learning to adapt to anything. So you're naturally flexible, Vex observed. More than that, Bei Young said. We're naturally suspicious of the status quo. When other species see a stable situation, they try to maintain it. When humans see a stable situation, we immediately start planning for when it changes. That's why human military training is different, Oh Kyung explained. We don't just learn tactics and weapons. We learn to improvise, to use whatever is available, to find opportunities in disasters. The young alien mercenary looked skeptical, but the stories, the impossible victories. Not impossible, Jung Ari corrected. Just unlikely. The difference is that humans specialize in unlikely scenarios. Grimm clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. The Iron Covenant had better weapons, better armor, better technology. Technology is just tools, Kang Wu said. The question is who's using the tools better. Human tools are designed by humans who expect things to go wrong, Jimin added. Our weapons work in mud and sand and extreme cold. Our armor is designed to be repaired in the field. Our tactics assume we'll be outnumbered and outgunned. Because that's normal for us, Oh Kyung said with a slight smile. Vex was starting to understand. You're not just trained to fight. You're trained to survive. Every human military unit trains for scenarios where everything goes wrong at once, Bei Young explained. Equipment failures, communication breakdowns, being surrounded by superior forces. We practice turning disasters into advantages. That's why the Crimson Fleet lost, Jung Ari said. They brought overwhelming force against what they thought was a normal military target, but humans aren't normal. The cantina was completely quiet now. Every alien was listening intently. When the fleet surrounded Haven Point, Li Han's team didn't see a hopeless situation, Kang Wu continued. They saw a puzzle. How do you defeat 200 ships with 6 soldiers? Most species would say it's impossible. But humans say, hold my coffee and watch this, Oh Kyung added, causing several aliens to laugh nervously. The real secret, Jimin said, is that human children grow up hearing stories about ancestors who did impossible things. David killing Goliath with a sling, small armies defeating massive empires, explorers crossing oceans in tiny boats. Those aren't just stories, to us, Bei Young said. They're instruction manuals. Vex shook his head in amazement. So when you face impossible odds, we remember that impossible odds are just Tuesday for humans, Kang Wu finished. The old Zephyrian janitor approached their table nervously. Sir, he said to Kang Wu, may I ask a question? Of course. At Haven Point when your medic was humming while she fought, why was she humming? Oh Kyung answered. Because she was calm. Humans hum when we're focused and comfortable. Park Sora was in her element. Fighting 500 warriors was her element. Solving a complex problem under pressure was her element, Jung Ari corrected. The fighting was just the method. That's the part that scares other species, Jimin observed. Not that we can fight impossible odds, but that we enjoy it. We enjoy the challenge, Bei Young clarified. Humans are natural problem solvers. The bigger the problem, the more interesting it becomes. Vex was quiet for a long moment, processing everything he had heard. So when that corporate representative offered 50 million credits, every mercenary in here realized they weren't being hired to fight soldiers, Kang Wu said. They were being hired to fight a species that treats warfare like a competitive sport. A sport we've been playing for millions of years, Okyung added. Against opponents who want to kill us, young Airi continued. While the planet itself tries to kill us, Bae-young finished. No wonder no one took the contract, Grim muttered. The young alien mercenary raised his hand tentatively. So what should we do if we ever have to fight humans? The entire table of humans exchanged glances. Then they all smiled at the same time. Don't, they said in unison. But if you absolutely have to, Kang Wu added more seriously, remember that humans fight best when we're cornered, desperate, and facing impossible odds. So maybe try negotiating first. Or hiring us instead of fighting us, Okyung suggested. We prefer solving problems to creating them. As the evening continued, more aliens approached their table with questions. Stories were shared, myths were explained, and slowly the fear began to transform into understanding. Near closing time, Vex stood up to leave. Thank you for the education, he said. I think I understand now why humans have the reputation they do. What's that? Jimin asked. You're not monsters. You're just really, really good at being human. After the aliens had left, the 5 humans sat alone in the cantina. Think that helped? Young Airi asked. Maybe, Kang Wu replied. Understanding is usually better than fear. Okyung's communicator chimed. She read the message and smiled. Speak of the devil. Li Han wants to know if we're interested in another archaeology job. Apparently there's a corporate mining company on Rigel 7 that needs some education about respecting alien heritage sites. Sounds like honest work, Bae-young said, finishing his drink. The best kind, Kang Wu agreed. As they prepared to leave, Jimin looked around the cantina one last time. You know what the real difference is between humans and other species? What's that? Okyung asked. Other species fight wars to win territory or resources or dominance. Humans fight wars to protect what we care about. And when humans fight, to protect something, Bae-young added. Impossible odds just make us try harder. They walked out of the cantina together, leaving behind a room full of aliens who finally understood why mercenaries don't take contracts against human special forces. Not because humans were monsters, but because they were human. And that was more than enough.